When my daughter Lily jolted awake screaming, I knew that sound. It wasn't a normal cry or a tantrum or one of those half-asleep whimpers. It was the kind of scream that rips something out of a child's chest, the sound she makes only when she's reliving that night. The night she saw her father slam the door and never come back, the night that shattered everything. She was 8, small for her age, always soft-spoken, always trying to be good. Nightmares were her punishment for surviving. We were staying at my parents' house for the weekend, a decision I regretted every second I was there. I should have known better. Comfort and compassion don't exist in that house unless your name is Hannah, my sister, the family's golden trophy since birth. I sat up instantly, heart pounding as Lily cried, "Mom, Mom, please don't leave. Don't let him take me. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video." I pulled her into my arms, holding her tight as she shook. "It's okay, baby. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere." But even whispering wasn't quiet enough, because the door slammed open so hard it rattled the frame, and my mother stood there in her robe, hair wild, eyes full of anger instead of concern. "What is this noise?" she hissed. "Do you know what time it is?" Behind her, my father appeared, rubbing his face like he was the one being tortured. "For God's sake, Jenna, take her outside or something. Hannah has a photo shoot in the morning. She needs rest." My arms tightened around Lily. "She had a nightmare. She's terrified. Just give us a second." My mother's lip curled. "Your child's fear is not our responsibility. Your sister's comfort is." I felt something cold crawl up my spine. "She's 8. She's shaking. She needs to calm down." "She needs to be quiet," my father snapped. "Your sister is an influencer now. She cannot have dark circles because your kid can't control her emotions." Lily sobbed against my shoulder, flinching at his tone. She always flinched around my parents. They never liked her. They never even pretended to. "She's scared," I repeated. "Please just let us stay here until she settles." But my mother marched forward, grabbed my arm, and yanked me toward the hallway. "You're not keeping Hannah awake. Take her out of the room," she ordered. "If she cries elsewhere." "With the lights on," Dad added, already turning away. "We won't have her keeping the whole house up." They didn't care that it was 3 a.m. They didn't care that the winter air in the hallway bit like ice. They didn't care that Lily was clinging to me, shaking, whispering, "Please don't let them take me, Mommy." "Mom!" I snapped, twisting out of her grip. "Stop! She's terrified. She's not doing this on purpose." "Everything is on purpose when it comes from you," she shot back. "Drama runs in your blood. Hannah got the strength, you got the theatrics. Don't pass that to your child." Then she did what I'll never forget. She reached past me, tried to pull Lily away from my chest. Lily screamed and clung tighter, tiny fingers digging into my shirt. "No! No, Mommy, please!" I shoved my mother's hand back instinctively. "Don't touch her." "Well, if you won't quiet her," Dad barked, "get out of that room. Now." He grabbed the door and pulled it shut behind us, leaving me and my daughter alone in the hallway, cold, dim, abandoned, while their favorite child slept peacefully behind the door she apparently owned. Lily's sobs echoed off the walls. I sat on the floor, holding her against me, rocking her as she cried and cried until her breath hiccuped. She kept rubbing her eyes like she was trying to wake herself up from the nightmare she was still living. "You're okay," I whispered. "I'm here. I've got you. I promise." But the truth was, I couldn't protect her in that house, because the moment my daughter fell quiet, the door cracked open again and my sister stepped out, hair in perfect waves, silk pajamas set glistening under the hallway light. She gave us one disgusted look. "Seriously?" she muttered. "Your kid is ruining my sleep. Tell her to grow up." "She's 8, I said. Hannah rolled her eyes. "And? You were always dramatic at that age, too. Guess she got your genes." "Lucky her." My mother appeared behind her. "Jenna, take her downstairs if she's going to cry again. Hannah has a big day tomorrow." A big day. A photo shoot for free perfume samples. But my child's trauma didn't matter. "Mom," I said quietly, She's been through enough. She needs gentle voices, not this. She needs discipline, my father interrupted, not coddling. Then he leaned closer, lowering his voice to that tone that always made me feel 10 years old again. You want to be in this house? You follow our rules. And rule number 1, don't disrupt Hannah's peace. I looked at him, really looked at him, at the man who never defended me, at the man who never once cared that I was hurting, at the man who now saw my daughter, the sweetest, kindest girl, as nothing but noise. Lily tugged at my sleeve. Mommy, can we go home? I don't want to be here. Those words broke something open in me. Because she was right, we didn't belong there. But I couldn't leave. Not yet. Not without a plan. Not without making sure the people who hurt us would understand what it felt like when their comfort was taken away. My parents turned and walked back into the room, slamming the door again like we were trash they were keeping outside. My sister laughed softly as it closed. Some people just shouldn't have kids, she said as she disappeared behind it. I stayed on the floor for a long time, holding Lily until she finally fell asleep in my arms, tiny, exhausted, trusting me with what little safety she had left. And right there, in that cold hallway at 3:40 a.m., with my daughter trembling against me, I decided something. This would be the last night they ever got to make my child feel unwanted, and I was going to make them regret every breath they wasted on cruelty. Not poetically, not quietly, not symbolically, but directly, personally, and permanently. Lily woke up with swollen eyes the next morning, curled into me like she was afraid someone would pull her away again. Sunlight leaked through the small hallway window, hitting her cheek where the skin was still blotchy from crying. "Do we have to go in there?" she whispered. "No," I murmured into her hair. "Not until we're ready." But downstairs I heard laughter, loud, carefree, the kind that made bile rise in my throat. My family wasn't mourning what happened. They weren't thinking about how a child cried herself to sleep in the hallway. They were thinking about pancakes, coffee, and Hannah's photo shoot. I helped Lily stand, smoothing her hair with my hands. She kept glancing over her shoulder like the darkness from last night was still behind us. When we finally went downstairs, Mom didn't even look at Lily. She looked through her. "You two took long enough," she said, setting down a plate of food for my sister first. "Hannah needs her vitamins and her breakfast warm." My father pointed to a stool at the far edge of the kitchen island. "She can sit there," he said, meaning Lily. "Out of the way." It wasn't even a real seat. It wobbled, and the cushion was torn. Hannah's kid sat in the good chair with a purple booster seat and a full plate of waffles. Lily climbed onto the unstable stool, small hands gripping the counter for balance. My stomach twisted. I said quietly, "Do you have a proper chair for her?" My mom's eyebrows shot up. If she wanted a proper chair, she shouldn't have screamed all night. Hannah laughed into her smoothie. "Kind of ironic, right? You raise her soft, then blame us when she can't handle life." "She's 8, I repeated, the words tasting bitter now. My father slapped the newspaper onto the counter. "And she needs to stop being such a burden. Hannah never acted like this. Hannah was easy. Hannah was strong." Lily stared at her plate, shoulders curling inward. Then Mom turned to me. "And you, if you plan on staying another night, you'll follow our rules. We won't have chaos in this house. Not for your child. Not for you." My jaw tightened. "We're not staying tonight." Mom blinked like I'd just insulted royalty. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," I said. "We're leaving after breakfast." Hannah scoffed. "Drama queen, just like always." My father glared. "If you walk out now, don't expect to come back when you need help." "I've never gotten help from you," I said calmly. That made the whole room freeze, because they weren't used to me speaking to them like an equal. They were used to me apologizing, shrinking, trying to smooth the air. But something about last night snapped the part of me that begged for their approval. Lily reached for her fork and the stool wobbled again. She flinched, grabbing my sleeve for balance. My mother noticed and smirked. "Maybe she'll fall off. Then she'll learn to sit still." My vision blurred with anger. "You're talking about a child," I said. "Your grandchild." She's not my grandchild, Mom said coldly. She's your consequence. Lily went stiff, her fork clattering softly against her plate. She whispered, Mommy, can we go now? Please? I stood up. Get your shoes, baby. My father slammed his hand onto the counter. Sit down. We're not done talking. Yes, we are. But as we headed toward the stairs, I heard Hannah behind me, voice dripping with mock sympathy. No wonder Lily's scared of the dark. She probably knows deep down you can't protect her from anything. That stopped me dead. Something dark and cold uncoiled inside me. Not fear, not hurt, something sharper. I turned slowly. Don't talk about her. What? Hannah said innocently. She needs to toughen up. Kids cry too much these days. She had nightmares, I said. Nightmares you don't care enough to understand. My mother crossed her arms. Because her nightmares are theatrics? My father added, everything about her is dramatic. She needs discipline. Lily stood halfway up the stairs, small hands gripping the railing, eyes big and filled with confusion. Mommy, why do they hate me? My chest cracked open because she asked it softly, curiously, like she was genuinely trying to understand. I went up to her, kneeling so my face met hers. They don't matter, I whispered. You didn't do anything wrong. They're just wrong people. Her eyes shimmered. I don't want to come back here. My hands cupped her cheeks. You won't have to. Behind us, my family erupted. My mother, that's it, Jenna, put ideas in her head. My father, typical, turn her against us. Hannah, honestly, just go. You bring the mood down anyway. I stood, taking Lily's hand, and walked her back upstairs, not to pack, not yet, but to keep her away from the storm I could feel gathering inside me, because the more they talked, the more something inside me shifted from defense to strategy. They didn't know it yet, but by tonight, every single one of them would finally learn what fear felt like. Not through violence, not through theatrics, not through poetic justice, through consequences, real ones. I tucked Lily into my side and whispered, Baby, I need you to stay with me today, okay? Really close. She nodded, trusting me the way nobody ever should have trusted my parents. I stood there for a long moment, staring. At the closed bedroom door, listening to my family laugh downstairs again like we were nothing. Then I whispered to myself, this ends today. And for the first time in years, I felt strong. I didn't go downstairs right away. I sat with Lily until her breathing turned steady, her fingers wrapped around mine like she was afraid I'd disappear. When she finally drifted off for a quick nap, I slipped out quietly and stepped into the hallway. My phone felt heavy in my hand, not because of fear, but because of certainty. I'd spent years begging these people to act human. Now they were going to deal with real consequences for the first time in their lives. I walked downstairs, where they were all spread out across the living room. Mom folding throw blankets like she owned compassion. Dad complaining about the news. Hannah scrolling her phone like she was the star of every room. They didn't even look up at me. Perfect. I cleared my throat. So, about last night. Dad rolled his eyes. Are you still on about that? Mom muttered. God, Jenna, take a joke. A child screaming is a joke? I said. Dragging us into a hallway is a joke? Hannah didn't even glance up. Your kid was loud. End of story. I stepped forward, my voice calm. Too calm. Great. Then you won't mind signing something. Dad looked up sharply. What? I pulled out a printed document, not to trick them, not to manipulate, but because I'd spent 6 months preparing for the day I'd finally be free. A custody boundary agreement. It stated that they were not allowed unsupervised contact with Lily, not allowed to take her anywhere, not allowed to treat her as property, not allowed to involve themselves in her discipline. Fully legal, fully enforceable. Mom snorted. You expect us to sign that garbage? You told me we're a burden, I said. So consider this protection, for both of us. Dad leaned forward, face twisting. We are your parents. We get access. Not anymore, I said. Sign it. Hannah laughed like I was a sitcom. What are you gonna do if they don't? Cry? Write a letter? I held up my phone. No, but I will submit the video. Their smiles died instantly. The video of them dragging an 8-year-old into a hallway. The video of my father yelling inches from her face. The audio of my mother saying Lily was a consequence, not a grandchild. The part where they blamed an 8-year-old for nightmares. The part where they said, I should be grateful they tolerated us. They had dragged us. They had screamed. They had forgotten the security camera in the upstairs hallway. Mom's face went white. You wouldn't. I already saved it to the cloud. Dad shot up from the couch. You're threatening us? No, I said. I'm telling you the terms. Sign the agreement and I walk away quietly. No police involvement, no welfare checks, no neighbors seeing what you did. You get your piece. Hannah stood, her voice shaking. You don't get to bully this family. You bullied an 8-year-old, I said. I'm just giving you the paperwork. Dad looked at the document again. And what if we refuse? I held his stare, steady and sharp. Then I give the footage to the people who will care. Silence. Real silence. The kind that creeps in when someone realizes they've run out of exits. Mom snatched the pen first. She didn't even ask to read it. She signed like fear was pulling her wrist. Dad followed, jaw clenched so tight a muscle twitched near his temple. Hannah hesitated the longest, eyes darting like she was searching for some last scrap of control. Then she signed, scribbling her name so hard the paper ripped underneath. I folded the agreement, slipped it into my bag, and said, Good, we're done here. Mom whispered, You're really leaving? Yes, I said, and you won't see her again unless she asks. She decides. Dad pointed at me, hand shaking. You'll miss this. You'll miss us. I walked to the stairs, voice low enough to slice. I haven't missed you once. I carried Lily out of that house an hour later, her head resting on my shoulder, her small voice asking, Are we going somewhere safe? I kissed her forehead. Yeah, baby. For the first time, we really are. As I buckled her into her seat, she whispered, Do they still hate me? No, I said. They don't get the chance anymore. I looked back at the house, the place where I spent years shrinking, apologizing, forcing myself to be small. They watched from the doorway, pale and trembling, finally understanding what losing control felt like. I turned the key in the ignition, my chest lighter than it had been in years, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't look back, just forward, with Lily's hand wrapped around mine. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.